How about disappointments? It's probably right after that, I assume. Or not too long after, possibly. Okay, it is Tomitake's perspective. Wait, that's an expression I've never seen on her face. They only ever see her, like, looking kind of mischievous, or just kind of like, or that one time where she looked angry, but here she actually looks lost and depressed. Maybe we should wrap up for now. I don't think you're in the mood today. That's not true. Sorry if I give you that impression. Agnes-san has been looking through the viewfinder, but I haven't seen her push the shutter at all. While she came along, I don't think she's in the mood for bird watching. Agnes-san has been depressed ever since the announcement of the new policies at the board meeting the other day. Okay, this does take place after that, then. Well, it would have to, wouldn't it? Well, not it, would it? Because was that also part of the scene? I might have been, now I think about where it was revealed Koizumi died, I think that was, so I had to go through that scene first. That's understandable. The Institute was created by her in the first place. It was created so that she can devote her life to researching Hinamizawa syndrome. Will that be tossed aside while being asked to wrap up work within a few years? Of course she's depressed. Besides, she can't even fully spend the rest of the time left on research. Their funding was being cut in stages, and by the end, they'll barely be able to finish closing up, let alone research anything. I heard that she's the grandfather of the late Dr. Takano. Here's a thought, though. When the research does, get finished, does the clinic close as well? It's because, aside from being primarily for research, it's also like a clinic, pretty much. That's the whole disguise of it all. But it does function like a clinic, It's just behind the scenes they're doing that research. But, it's like a legit clinic. Iri is a legit doctor and all that. The villagers can go there when they're feeling unwell or whatnot, instead of having to travel into Octobed to go to the nearest hospital or something, And Higurashi is the granddaughter of the late Dr. Takano. Her determination to finish her grandfather's research is what kept her going until today. Since everything has been going smoothly until recently, this sudden change in the wind's direction must have been a total shock. A shift in people pulling the strings must be pretty serious. Board of directors was completely changed out, and she heard that people and projects influenced by the Koizumi faction were being restructured to set an example. The wind's new direction seems likely to remain for a long time. It's highly unlikely that the Koizumi faction will come back into power, so no matter what we say, it's almost impossible to expect the same kind of support from them. Isn't there something we can do? Takano-san muttered. Unfortunately, there isn't. There is nothing anybody can do. Okay, that's gotta be Tomitake then. At first, the board talked about halting the research immediately, but after lots of convincing, they finally agreed to make it a gradual suspension over a few years. People who helped us when the Erie Institute was first created are the ones who managed that. I see. Well, it looks like the worst-case scenario. It's actually somebody else's hard-earned victory, huh? 3 years was the best they could do. I tried to, I used your data to try and explain to the board how important this research is. Only 3 more years, huh? Maybe Takano-san doesn't understand how hard I tried to convince them. No, I think she doesn't really give a shit because, the fact that it failed makes, that's the main focus. Doesn't matter how hard you try, if it failed in the end to, prevent that, then it doesn't mean shit to her. Because what she just said tells me the length of time left really doesn't matter to her. The important thing is that her research is being stopped. Well, it's not just the fact that it's being stopped, but it's also, not going to be made public at all. So all that research will feel like it was for nothing for her. Fact is that I couldn't meet her expectations and made her feel disappointed. As a man, it kind of hurts. The best I can do at this point is route as much funding as possible towards the research so that you can work to your heart's content for the few years we have left. Sorry, I can't do anything else. That's okay. If that's the best you can do, then I'm very happy. Her words hurt me. I wish she'd chosen different ones. I think that would be asking too much from someone so heartbroken. I must be understanding of her pain at a time like this. You know, be like, oh, so you gotta sympathize with Takano here. No, not too much, not really. It's like, this takes place like a few years in now, this is. So, like, she's already done all this kind of shady shit. She probably did go ahead and, dissected Rika's mother alive and all kinds of shit like that. It's just like, she's got a lot of blood on her hands already, Besides, I know how close she was to the deceased Koizumi-sensei. She even called him uncle. To her, his death is not just the start of a coup, or in change in direction. Did I pronounce that wrong? Is it coup? Is that how that's pronounced, or is it different words? I think it's that, but I don't know. She lost the person who was always looking after her. No matter how hard she pushed herself to act villainous, she wasn't supposed to be part of this world. She was just an ordinary woman. An ordinary woman with psychotic ambitions. But she was intrigued by Hidemizuna's syndrome, and she had to find help from someone who had more power than her to be able to continue research on it. Dark side of the world she should never have gotten involved in, extended its hands out to her. She was left all by herself in that world, and she's still trying to put on a brave face. I'm sure Takano-san thinks I'm unreliable. Realistically, I'm not the kind of person who can meet her expectations, nor do I have the power to. Least I can do for her is stay sincere and remain her ally until the very end. Since she had so much room to act, it's harder for her to determine what actions to take when she's cornered. I wanted to believe she wouldn't, but I'm concerned that she might do something drastic eventually. Oh, you'd be right for thinking that. Hope I can be of help to her in that very final moment before she makes her move. Well, yeah, we know how well that goes. It's like, do we? She's like, yeah, did you not see the previous arc? But I can't even gain enough trust from her to do that. How pitiful and pathetic. Of course, part of it is, as a man, I want her to rely on me. But that's not really it. She's been abandoned in this world and is all alone, so someone has to be her ally. And if I'm the only one who knows about that, then being her ally is my job. I know her too well, so I know that she'll never ask for help. I don't think you know her that well, Tomitake, if you don't realize, how, sociopathic she tends to be. A lot of the time. Even if she says it's unnecessary, someone has to be with her, I know that. I don't really think I'm suited for that job. I'm sure that there are many reliable people out there who are more appropriate for the position than me. But I can't let her be alone until that person appears. Takano-san, I know I'm pathetic and unreliable. What's this all of a sudden? What is it, Jiro-san? But I think I can be of help to you, so... Thank you, but I don't believe that talking to people helps you feel better. Sorry. Though I'm happy to hear that you're concerned, I really am. Okay, that's fine. I'll always be on your side, so please believe that, okay? Of course I will. If you think of a good idea to convince the board, please let me know, okay? Sure, I'll do my best. He says all that, he's like, oh yeah, he'll always be on her side, but again, look back at Higurashi and see, what happens when she reveals her extreme plan. Why is it? I know she's such a strong person, there's nothing someone like me can do for her, but somehow I feel she needs help and support right now. She looks as tough as ever, but only I, who has been taking pictures of her all this time, can tell. Viewfinder, after all, is also a window to look into someone's heart. But if I say something like that, she'll tease me again, so I won't. Anyway, I never thought she needed support more strongly than I do right now. Who was going to continue then? It was like, what? Let's actually have a look. Nope, still not unlocked. Let's get some deja vu. Hey, Nakagawa-kun, long time no see. Still at it lately. You know that. What the fuck even was that voice? Who's speaking? Oh, no, not at all. It's no fun getting old. Who the hell are we? You've got a constraint when you work with clay. You put it off for a long time, your senses get dull, and there's no point. And say, allow me to introduce someone. This is Major Takano, okay? Very nice to meet you. Thank you for taking time to meet with me today. I truly appreciate it. Okay, this is where the deja vu is going to come into play then. I really didn't make time for you, actually. I was told that I could have some good raw sea urchins. Sea urchins are good for you, did you know? Rich in vitamin A, and they're good for your skin. Women like sea urchins, right? It's true that sea urchins are rich in vitamin A, but compared to spinach, it's not anything that's worth making a fuss about. Well, none of that matters right now. He just seems to be an unpleasant man, so I wanted to criticize him. These men are the directors of the Alphabet Project who control the funding for the Erie Institute. There are also people who are in the position of being able to offer their opinions to those directors. To put it in a simpler way, they are the new owners of the Erie Institute. Although not as much as Uncle Kazumi was, they are also leaders and influencers in various fields. You have to be very careful not to upset them. And therefore, there's no way I would have had the ability to call them in. By using the influence that the Kazumi faction once had, I finally managed to get this chance. Uncle Kazumi, who gave me his full support and made everything go my way, is not here anymore. I'm on my own from this point on, and I will open up a path. But this stage just doesn't belong to me today. I can't let the people who offered me this chance to lose face, so I have to wait patiently until it's my turn. My primary objective today is to explain what a prominent research subject in Mizawa syndrome is, and inquire an indefinite extension for our research. Good luck with that. You're gonna need it. They only ever think about money, so they aren't even realizing the hidden potential of Mizawa syndrome. They don't recognize that it's worth spending a lot of money on. How so? This is not mere research on the existence of an unknown parasite, but something that may overthrow the basic foundations of anthropology. A Nobel Prize wouldn't even be enough. It won't be easy trying to explain all that to men who know nothing about any of it, but I have to. And that's why I spent many hours making these straightforward support documents. Sometimes we make documents confusing on purpose because we don't like dealing with uneducated people. This time it's different. I think I can kind of tell where this scene's going now. I can look down at them. I must sincerely look down at them. I must sincerely try to make them understand. The accessibility support documents are there in a huge pile. Feels like we're wasting time eating traditional Japanese food in such a relaxed mood. I want to get to the point and explain to them in detail so they can understand. But there is the saying, luck lies in the last helping. Have to be patient right now. Okay, so this must be them then. To be frank, I thought the Alphabet Project with Ian wasn't that good. In the end, it's been nothing but a sandbox for the old men with their heads still stuck in the Pacific War. Nothing but a sandbox for those old men to craft their dreams of Imperial Japan's revival with money that isn't theirs. Do you know how much public funding was wasted on those delusions? Who's speaking? Is it them or Takano on the top there? I can't tell. Maybe it is. From what I've heard, there are already prosecutors poking people like Okno-sensei and trying to pin embezzlement on the old board of directors. It was probably just one of them, but whatever, that's what you get for trying to suck up to those old men. Of course, none of it can be made public, so I guess they'll be held responsible or demoted in another form. This is what the country gets for letting those ghosts of the war run around freely all this time. Boy, these grilled sea urchins are fantastic. Okay, this sounds like it might be Takano, maybe? Well, this is harsh. I realize it's extremely difficult to ask this of you all when you feel that way, but might I have a moment of your time? Hey, you're from the Hearing Institute, aren't you? You're researching some kind of local disease in Nagano or Gifu, right? What's going on down there? The board has decided to halt the research for military application. The research project itself is to wrap up within 3 years as well. Oh no, sorry, that's still being discussed. Anyhow, our work is scheduled to be shut down within a few years. Ah, yes, I remember now. The Hearing Institute had a bad reputation even among the old board of directors. For all, it sucked up huge funds and barely any inspections. I don't know why, but someone high up kept pushing for it for some reason. Because of that, nobody could really say anything about it, and it was left alone. But you know, that guy loved to flirt around with women, so maybe that had something to do with it. Is he implying that I slept with Uncle Kasumi? He's insulting both of us. But I held my anger in. I can't let myself be bothered by something like this. Anyway, today I would like to explain to you the details of our institute's research and ask you to reconsider your decision. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend this meeting today. Well, I guess they don't give out free sea urchins for nothing, huh? Is this guy always a freaking laughing hyena or what? I explained to them how much the Inbizarre syndrome mattered while being very careful not to go too fast. I tried to let them know that the syndrome's potential is not limited to small things like military applications, but is much more meaningful than that. It may explain ideology and religion. May even shake the very definition of a human being. I took my time to explain as slowly and clearly as possible. I'm not confident that all of it has gotten through to those boorish men, but I'm happy if they understand even just a part of it. As long as they understand how much of a magnificent discovery Inbizarre syndrome really is. I don't think they're gonna see it that way. Thank you, Major. I see. We would like to discuss among ourselves, so could you please excuse yourself? Yes, thank you. Obviously they can't discuss in front of me. I left all the documents with them. All I could do now was hope they viewed them favorably. I left the room and closed the sliding door. The room next door is a preparation room, so I was to head there. But I stopped. I shouldn't have done it. I tried to listen in through the sliding door. Well, I don't know what to say. I feel sorry for everyone on the previous board of directors. I know how you feel. Koizumi-sensei pushed this so strongly. I met him once before when he became founding director of XX Pharmaceuticals. Seemed like a very intelligent person to me. Guess you just can't win against age. It makes you realize how important it is for humans to know when to pull out. There's a fact that this very rare disease called Inbizarre syndrome really exists, so not everything is a delusion. I hear the Hearing Institute has already succeeded in identifying the disease and developing a treatment. Isn't that enough? In modern Japan, we have to be careful with things that might make neighboring countries nervous. Military-related issues are the most sensitive ones. So at the very least, we must erase the fact that research for military purposes has been going on for the past few years immediately. Is that separate from simply discontinuing the military research, then? Yes, even if we stopped it immediately, the fact that this Inbizarre syndrome was being researched in order to create a biological weapon remains. We should hide the fact no matter what purpose the research ends up being used for. If possible, it would be best if Inbizarre syndrome just disappears. That's true. If the disease remains, then sooner or later someone will become curious about it and dig up the hole we filled. I think we should follow the decision of the board of directors, and as soon as the Erie Institute eradicates the disease, we should have them destroy all evidence of their work before disbanding. I guess that's for the best. It's not even a matter of a Nobel Prize, it's just useless for post-war Japan. Besides, this disease has existed for hundreds of years, right? We made it this far without any problems. From the start, I thought this amounted to little more than just poking around in the bushes. Me too. I don't doubt the existence of the syndrome, but Dr. Takano discovered the disease is exaggerated more than a little. He had quite a unique interpretation of things. First of all, I've never heard of a parasite that's capable of controlling people's thoughts. It's just too much. You know, I can see where they're going from. It is all outrageous, but the idea of a parasite that could potentially control someone, it's like you look at nature. There are actually parasites like that exist that take over the mind and body of like insects and shit. It's not too out there to think, even if it's a tiny little bit of the potential of such a thing existing, you know? It would be a huge mindfuck though, wouldn't it? Be like, oh shit, that's how zombies are gonna be a thing, oh fuck. We try to explain religion with this, and Buddha, Christ, all those people would be, what was it again? Queen carriers? We try to expose in something like this, we'd be attacked by every nation on the planet. Well, got a fair point. Even if they had that and could prove it, there would be a lot of uproar, wouldn't there? They'd be like, no, this is all bullshit. It doesn't seem to say Jesus, but it does say Christ. Just wanted to check that. Or maybe it did, and I just overlooked the Jesus part. Oh wait, no, he just said Christ, so yeah. Jesus wasn't even in the wording there. Well, it was, but with the Christ. Religion is pretty scary nowadays. It's like religion is pretty scary nowadays. Well, think about back in the day, man. You're just like, so much has been like, you know what? This isn't for me. It's like, kill the heathen. There are parasites that live in animal brains, and I guess we can say there are parasites that live in human brains too. Will them to control human thought? That's a bit too unique, you know. As I peeked in through the gap in the sliding door, I became trapped within an unbelievable sense of deja vu. Yeah, this is how I expected the scene to go. It was like, deja vu. This is exactly what happened that one time where those people trampled literally on her grandfather's research all those years before. This is my first time experiencing this, but it doesn't feel that way. I don't know why, but the memory is so sad and so painful. Why, tears. Before I realized it, I saw a very nostalgic carpeted room on the other side of the sliding door instead of a room covered in tatami mats. The room is filled with the smell of dust mixed with the smell of some evaporated medicine, but it's very soothing to me just the same. And there is my grandfather. His article that he poured his heart into was made a mockery of, yet he wasn't even allowed to cry. This isn't a delusion, because within the documents I left with these men, there are a lot of references to the article my grandfather wrote. So I'm not surprised for my grandfather to be standing right there, explaining to them himself. To go with my tears from seeing the sight of my beloved grandfather, I watched these men insult and belittle his masterpiece. I've seen the sight before, and the sight should have ended there, but why is it repeating before my eyes? I can only blankly peek through the sliding door at this strange world where reality and illusions overlap. The Major is a little strange, and Koizumi-sensei, who believed in something as ridiculous as this, is a little strange too. The strangest one of all is the person who wrote this article in the first place. Blends together expectations and illusions, and looks more like fiction than a thesis. I think this will be a big hit once it gets published, you know. You're absolutely right. I have a friend who's the head of a publishing company. I bet he'd love this. It's even the same kind of wording as well. Those men said the same exact thing to her grandfather. It's not a laughing matter, gentlemen. A huge amount of money was poured into this over the past few years. The worst thing is that the equipment used to gas the villagers in case of an emergency have already been procured. Our people must never learn about this. Such a plan to exist is scary enough, but if people find out about this equipment, the whole country will turn against us. On top of that, the cost to maintain this equipment is enormous. Then why don't they, get rid of it? Remove it from its spot, or is that simply too expensive, or simply just impossible? I don't really think it's being maintained, do you? Surely this whole project is some kind of money laundering scheme. What did they say anyway? If one girl dies, the whole village will go crazy at once? What kind of comic book is this? Exactly. Someone actually believes such a childish story and put a huge amount of money into it. Now that's crazy. What's truly ridiculous is that someone actually took these documents seriously. Think about it. This scene right here, these men insulting the whole research, shitting all over it, is clearly what going to tip her over the edge and be like, oh yeah, you remember that? It's like, I'll make that happen, you bastards. I'll prove you all wrong, even though it doesn't really prove anything and it's all kind of a lie, really, when you think about it, because it's not really like proving the theory, it's more of, forcing the theory to be a reality, because it's not like it's all bollocks. But, these assholes being like this are what pushes her over the edge, clearly. As he said that, he placed the documents down with an exaggerated gesture. Actually, I should say he slammed them down, because the papers ended up scattered all over the floor. You're too right. Excuse me. I need to use the bathroom. One of the men stood up and stepped on the papers. And there weren't the papers on the tatami mats, but the ones on the carpet. Right there I can see my grandfather was filled with heart-rending sadness. Yet he can't let it show on his face. Grandfather's expression didn't change. Yet it seemed distorted to me. I could see the walls of my grandfather's study crumbling and twisting behind me. I jumped into the room. I grabbed onto the man's legs. I don't hate him. What? For real? Exactly the same? You'd look a bit more odd now doing that. No, it's not whether I hate him or not. Sure, I hate him, but that's not it. I just can't forgive the feet stepping on my grandfather's article. Don't step on them. My grandpa wrote those. Please don't step on them. Sorry. His feet are still stepping on the papers. I tried to make them move, but they won't even budge as though they've grown roots. So I begged as I grabbed onto his legs. I tried to pull the papers from under his feet, but I can't move his feet. I can't pull the papers. Don't step on them. Don't step on them. My grandpa's don't step on them. My sobbing echoed in that silent room, just like it did back then. And that was that. No continuation of the scene to see how awkward it gets after that. Well, that scene is obviously going to pretty much explain how, things end up the way they were. If not for that, it makes you wonder what would have happened if not for that. Takano wouldn't get the idea in her mind to go through with what she ultimately goes through with. And maybe the research would have continued, but then what? She's still doing loads of shady shit, like she had Rika's parents killed because they were a problem, because they were getting in the way of them getting Rika to, be part of their research. And, it's just like, yeah, it probably would still be all kinds of that kind of shit happening in the background, probably. So what's unlocked now? This one. An invitation to an end, a raw sea urchin. Okay, now that explains. I was wondering, it's like, what the fuck's a sea urchin gotta do with anything? Well, now it makes sense. Kind of. I mean, well, it'd be any relevance to the scene, I don't know. But he also needed Toshi to get the teddy bear, I guess. And I suppose the moral support was probably the scene with Tomitake.